Welcome, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us. However, you are picking us up on radio, on broadcast radio, on the podcast, streaming radio, video, excerpt. It's all good. Been doing this now. We're in our 14th season, and we're so proud to do it. And one of the reasons we're able to do this radio program for this amount of time is our guest today with Craig Stiles, financial fitness guru. He's the man. Ameriprise is his jam, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Reviewing 2025, financially fit in 2025, talking about review and talking about options. All right. I want to welcome back to the radio program my very, very good friend and financial advisor who has made us a couple bucks this year, Mr. Craig Stiles. Hey, Craig.
Hello, Tom. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, man.
This afternoon,
whatever, the sun's up. And I'm glad the sun's
up. It's behind clouds. We're, Michigan. It's, we're used to it.
It is what it is. We're that's the thing. Here's the thing, everybody, for people picking this up all over the country. People in Michigan, we're so happy when we have a sunny day. It's great. So, you walk around with a bounce in your step on a sunny day because we get a lot of cloudy days in Michigan, especially this time of year. Hey, bro,
Yep.
how is the family doing? We're starting off the season here as we record this. We're getting ready to get everybody financially set for their 2025 thoughts. I got a really cool idea here, which I just sort of ran by you, and we're going to talk about this. But you know the drill.
Yep.
Caught up on all
I'll
that.
keep it short because I could always go from time to time. I always start off with my oldest because my oldest has so much to talk about. We never get to the youngest. So JoJo is doing fine. Our youngest is doing great. She's a little chatterbox. She actually has it's kind of funny because she is now to the point of being able to ask questions. And not only that, you ask her a question, she will reply to you in a full sentence. So I'm like, okay, she's pretty sharp little cookie.
How old is JoJo?
JoJo's 3.
Three.
Yeah, she's a
Okay.
3-year-old, but she's actually reciting things from mom and basically a couple of different things when she's learning speech and prepositions and all this kind of stuff in the language. But even some things that Stephanie is teaching her in Latin, she's reciting a lot of that stuff in Latin. But I'm like, well, that's pretty ingenious. But it's always fun just to watch how the kids develop. Of course, JoJo, she sees her older siblings going over to the piano. She'll go over and start to play on the piano a little bit. My daughter, Shaylee, 7, she's already playing the piano, doing pretty well in that, expanding in a couple of areas, if you will. And then my twin boys, they're playing. They have like 3 basketball games yet this year to finish off. And but they're enjoying it and having a good time. And so schoolwork is good for them. My daughter Maggie, building up, she bought her own soldering iron and kind of kits or whatever. So she's actually putting together her own. I've already had her grandma, her Oma, right, has broken now 2 remotes for her, those chairs that kind of lift you up and everything like this.
Yep.
She's already fixed one. She's working on fixing the other one and pulling it apart, soldering whatever needs to be soldered, find out what's broken on it. Now Maggie's 13. So she's going through and doing all of this stuff. I'm proud of her. And of course, she's very talented musically as well on the piano and voice. I'm always trying to encourage her to get out there and sing more because she does have a very beautiful voice and is very talented in a wide variety of areas. So
we've talked about this, Craig, and not to cut you off from the kids, but it's like all of these fantastic stories from between Joe and Maggie. But snapshot right now, parenting tip.
Oh yeah.
What's the magic?
I think the biggest thing that I regret not doing when I was younger, my dad offered it. He said, hey, if you want to learn how to play the guitar, I'll teach you how to play the guitar. Or you always hear about kids talking, oh, my mom and dad forced me to play the piano and I didn't want to do all of this. But when the kids come home and they play the piano after a rough day or whatever it is, if they have something that's frustrating, it's amazing how when they can sit down and just play the piano and play the music, that their frustrations and everything kind of goes to the wayside. And that is something that they will be able to take with them for the rest of their lives. To be able to play music, to help them to calm themselves down, to have that ability as an outlet that no matter where they go, they can use that creative side of their mind that they may not be able to use elsewhere. They may not be really good at it. They may not be, but the mere fact that they can sit down and play,
Right.
that's one of the things I would encourage. Whatever the instrument might be, I would encourage any parent to make music a part of their child's development as early of an age as possible, to get them to love it, to get them to sit down and read. Like last night, my wife was reading a story to the twins. I'm sitting down reading a story to both Chaylee and JoJo, and they were engrossed. We had the TV wasn't on. And while I'm reading to Chaylee and JoJo, my wife is reading to the twins. My older son, Charlie, who's my third, is playing chess with my other son, Zachariah, who's 15. So my 21-year-old is playing chess with his 15-year-old brother. That I would attribute a lot of that attention and focus comes from the kids' exposure to music in an earlier age and their mental development as they're going through the developmental phase. So,
See, this is why we do radio. I swear to God, everybody. Picking up tips like this, just asking a random question like this. Why I love asking, especially a guy like Craig, who I just respect so much. But the externalities and extracurricular activities, I so support that. And I was never a music person myself, but I had my extracurriculars, and our kids have had extracurriculars, and our grandkids have extracurriculars. And the extracurriculars, the externalities that kids get exposed to take away all that. There's a lot of pressure on kids nowadays. So we got to
yep,
help them. Craig, that was a great tip.
yep.
Hey, you got any more kids you want to talk about?
That's I do, but my point being is that I usually focus on the first few.
Yeah,
Now you
yeah.
see, I started from the bottom, we get up there, and now we can move on. The other kids, yeah, they got a gazillion things going on.
If you could do a 2-minute story on Stephanie and her latest adventure that you just told me, that would work perfect. And I'll give you the signal when we're ready to go. But if you could do that in 2 minutes, go for it.
Oh, okay. So as I was sharing with you earlier on, so my wife processed our own chickens. The cost of processing chickens is like $7 a chicken. So she and my kids processed roughly 40 to 45 chickens in a matter of an hour and a half, 2 hours, and going through this, and my wife processes the turkeys for Thanksgiving coming up. And so the one aspect about turkeys over chickens is that turkeys are bigger and they're a little bit stronger. So when they put the bodies of the animals or the chickens and the turkeys in a funnel, the chickens are, she goes through and takes their head off, if you will, and
Yep.
everything drains out, and then it does do the processing. Well, the chickens are fine, they're due there, and then everything's fine. You take them out and you pluck them, all that stuff. Well, the turkeys were a little bit stronger. So when she did that with the turkeys, the turkey just kind of flopped out and was all over the place. So needless to say, it was only my wife and my son Peyton at the time, and my son Peyton apparently went around and was trying to stop the chicken from flopping all over the place. And when he was done, he's like, I got to change my pants because it was blood everywhere. But that's the kind of the aspect of it. But that chicken that was, turkey was 3 days ago, 4 days ago. So we're gonna have a nice meal coming up, to say the least. And right now that the turkey is in a nice brine solution that will make it nice and tender and good. So I'm blessed to have a wife who is really good at everything from growing the turkeys to processing to cooking. So
And that is a story about Stephanie and Craig. You did it in under 2 minutes, and we're going to come up. Let me reset all this, everybody. Financial fitness, financially fit in 2025 with our pal Craig Stiles. He's my bro. He's our financial fitness guru, and he handles all of our full disclosure. You guys know all this. Handles all of our retirement zone savings. I pulled up this thing called Chat GPT. You might have heard of it. I
yeah,
asked Chat
maybe.
GPT a question. I wanted the top financial tips to gain wealth in 2025. And I'm going to run these by Craig and see, and this will explain to you very clearly why you need Craig, because these things, they may sound easy to, but they're hard to implement. And that's why you listen to the Tom Matt Show.
Yes, absolutely. And from flopping all over the place, when he was done, he's like, I got to change my.
Sorry about that.
You going through and rereading all that? Uh-oh.
I have my cursor in the wrong place. It's like, yeah.
Oops.
Okay, here we go. Gotta do this read. Here we
All
go.
right.
154. We're doing good. Great story. Thank you for doing that.
Yep.
That's the thing about this show, Craig. You know, we've done this so many times. It's like it's the human interest stuff. People like this stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they wouldn't keep putting us on WKR and all these stations all over the place, and people listen to it if the story wasn't good. So
Yep. Well, it is. It's always fun to be able to talk about the benefits of everything. So absolutely.
call me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm right here. Colin, you want me to call you now?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Oh, that wasn't me. You're
That
talking,
was
you're talking
Sandy.
to
That
Sandy.
was
Okay.
Sandy leaving. Anybody watching the video? That was Sandy. She's my girl. She's my girl. Here we go.
No.
Second segment of the Top Man Show is sponsored by our guest today, Mr. Craig Stiles, Ameriprise Financial. Full disclosure, as I just said about 30 seconds ago, Craig Stiles has all of our retirement zone savings, and I'm so glad that he has because I asked Craig for because our annual review will be coming up, and we did a show on that last year,
Yep.
and why you want to have the annual review. But our portfolio through Decidary Analytics, which Craig uses exclusively because it's his proprietary algorithm, our retirement zone savings over the last year, and everybody's different. Everybody's, so just take this as just kind of a thing, just and nothing, Craig can explain it.
Mhm.
22.5%. So when I guessed, I said Craig's probably about 10, 12, something like that. See, that's the thing. I don't know. So with the right financial advisor, like a Craig Stiles, life will be brilliant. I'm thrilled. I'm like, okay, can we do it again? Hopefully, call Craig at 1-800-528-1355, or his local number is 517-483-4893. Or if you're really tight with me, you can just send me a text and I'll give you his cell phone number and just tell him, we're friends. And that's
Or even not tight. Even if you're not tight with them.
even if you're not, you can if you got my cell phone number, which is all over the place, send me a text and I'll send you over to Craig. He's helped many, 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 many. That's why he's on here. I mean, his offices are located pretty nice too. 2651 Coolidge Road, Suite 103, East Lansing, Michigan 48823. Stations who have carried us in the past carry us now all over the place. I'm always like to mention, especially WGHN 92.1 FM in Grand Haven, because they're the first to carry us on broadcast radio many, many, many moons ago. And I'm very grateful to Will Team and Wendy Hart for that. So thank you guys for getting us going and giving me the confidence to continue with this whole Tom Matt Show Boomers Rock thing. WGIM 1240 in Lansing, the flagship of the Michigan Talk Network, which we are carried on thanks to Steve and Ivy Gruber. Really, really good people. I bet you Ivy Gruber's done that thing that Craig was just talking about with the turkey. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. WJRW 1340 in Grand Rapids carried us for a long time. WKOQ 1490 Muskegon Whitehall. WYPV FM 94.5 in Mackinac City. And of course, at Michigan State University. Very proud to say, thank you, Brad, for carrying us for all these years. AM 870 and 102.3 FM on the simulcast in East Lansing, Michigan, carrying us on Sundays at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Thank you so much for all of that. And again, Decidary Analytics is what got us over the top with our 22.5% return. So just keep that in mind because that's the deal. The Decidary Analytics is the ticket, baby. So, hey, back to you, Craig. So today's little platform that I got, I started to tell the listeners and you, I'm starting to really get into the Chat GPT AI stuff and, just kind of using it as instead of Google. And so here's what I did, everybody. I just said top financial tips to gain wealth in 2025. And if you think this stuff is easy, bear with us, okay? The very first one, which they make sound so simple because it's really simple. If you're not going to get a 22.5% return doing this on your own. I'm telling you right now, I would no way I would do. I'd be losing money. The first thing, Craig, is they say invest in low-cost diversified index funds. Okay. What is that? It's like they give you this thing and it's like, go ahead.
Well, there's a couple of variables that you want to take into consideration, especially when you take that level of information as it relates to utilizing low-cost index funds. An index fund is basically a fund that will mirror the securities or stocks or investments that are inside an index. Like for example, you have the S&P 500 index, or the most common ones, S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the Dow Jones Industrial Average is only 30 companies. The S&P 500 is 500 companies. In theory, 250 growth, 250 value, includes small, medium, and large companies. So typically it's considered more of a blended type strategy, growth and value. Then you have the NASDAQ 100, which typically is some of the 100 more technology-oriented type indexes. So typically a lot more aggressive, typically over the longer term will outperform. Dow Jones, typically the 30 largest companies that are out there, and usually more global in nature as well. So the purpose of looking at these indexes and comparing a portfolio, that is where most portfolio managers will want to compare against. But there are thousands, hundreds, if not thousands of different types of indexes. You have the Russell 1000, 2000, 3000, 5000 indexes. All of them measure, are used for specific or different types of measurements. So Fidelity, Vanguard, were some of the larger companies that started creating indexing, allowing people to invest in a very broad, diversified portfolio with small amounts of money. And so with the indexes, they basically, it's giving you the opportunity to take a couple dollars, put it into an index fund, knowing your portfolio is going to be diversified, and you won't have to worry about buying into a stock that goes bankrupt or in a company that goes bankrupt and you're losing money along those lines. Plus, you're going to have some companies that go up, some companies that go down. So it gives you that broad diversification. Well, what happens then is that everybody starts having an index fund. You got BlackRock has their S&P 500 fund. Vanguard has their S&P 500 fund. Schwab has their S&P 500. All of them are S&P 500. They all have the same stocks in them. So now they start talking, get into a low cost S&P 500. The performance is going to be roughly about the same, except the net of fees. So now you start having this battle, if you will, between financial advisory firms of offering the low cost investment products, presuming that cost is what is going to be driving performance. Cost doesn't drive performance. One of the ideas that I always kind of address with clients, there's two things that's going on in the markets. You're buying a stock, you're selling a stock. That's it. And then the index is a measure of an aggregate of people buying stocks and they're selling. So if you have a lot of people buying a lot of stocks, the markets are going to go up. If you have more people selling stocks than buying stocks, the markets are going to go down. But in the end, all you're doing is buying a single stock and you're selling a single stock. Some institutional managers are better than others. And so you could have an index fund that you pay 0.12 basis points and have the same volatilities of the markets going up, down, whatever it might be. Or you could spend 1.5%, 2% or whatever and hire a person to actively manage a portfolio, and you won't have that level of volatility when you're in withdrawals. Or if you're looking to try to outperform the markets, you could actually outperform the markets net of fees. So you want to look at what net results are. So to address that question, when you're looking at ChatGPT going out there and looking at some of those questions, they're going to look at the broad market and they're going to say, okay, here's what consensus says about indexing.
And here's what they said to how to implement. And this is another reason why you want to get Craig. Everybody, I'm going to wrap this, Craig, because we're coming up on break.
Yep.
But it said how to implement, open a brokerage account. Okay. Start contributing regularly. Good.
Yep.
Even small amounts. Consider setting up automatic contributions from your paycheck to stay consistent. Great. Okay. These are strategies. But if you don't have a manager on your baseball team,
Yep.
you don't know what play to run. You don't know where we're at. You don't know what player to put in the right. And so all of these things fit into the decideri model that Craig uses to help everyone hopefully do as well as us, maybe better in their financial fitness. Calling this one Financially Fit in 2025 with my brother from another mother, Craig Stiles, Ameriprise Financial. This is the Tom Mann Show. Beautiful. Save. Here we go. Here. Ready?
I'm ready.
Roll, baby. Next question I'll give you here. I'm just going to do them spontaneous, so we'll just roll.
Mhm. I can go with the
I
spontaneity.
know you can. I know you can. Well, that's the thing. That's why this is so complicated. It's just so easily. I started smiling as soon as I saw it. I said, "Oh, this is really great." Too complicated. Too easy. I don't like gambling. Here we go. Here we go.
Yep.
Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Tom Matt, your host of this radio program now in our 14th season. Amazing to say that. Financially Fit in 2025. The hope is everyone after this election, I'm so glad this election is over. We can start moving forward with all of our financial fitness, with all of our reality, really all of it. Getting in shape, losing some weight, doing it. The sponsor of this segment, Brock Fletcher, selling team Keller Williams Realty. Brock. Full disclosure again, because we use our sponsor services, so it's easy for us to pitch them because it's like, well, they help us, and we know them very, very well. Brock Fletcher is the selling team of Keller Williams Realty are the bomb. And Mike Dedman is my man. I mean, he helped us. He was our buyer's agent for Little House Lansing. And when Brock gave me the tip to get rid of Big House Holt, that was a tough decision. And but he helped me make the right decision, and he helped educate us on how that's what he will do for you. Listen to some of those episodes with Brock. We got a bunch of them on our website, Reality of Real Estate. Here's how you get a hold of Brock. 517-853-6408. Here's the big number. This is his cell phone. Go right to it. 517-303-3262. You can go to his website, kwsellingteam.com. You can go to our website, tommattshow.com, where you can find all of our friends and sponsors at the bottom of the homepage. But the key is that 303 number, 517-303-3262, because he will leave him a voicemail or text him. Either way, whatever's easiest for you, whatever you prefer, Brock will get back to you. I absolutely guarantee it, because he is the man. We just believe in each other. That's why we have these really good people helping us with the radio program, podcast, because it makes life fun and it feeds right back into our topic for today, Financially Fit in 2025. Our financial fitness guru, Craig Stiles, is here with us. What a great way to start off the 2025 season with a financial fitness kind of like thought process. Get yourself focused on this stuff. And then we'll have real estate coming up. Okay, so what I did is, if you're just joining us, I used ChatGPT to give me some ideas on what I want to ask Craig about for 2025. Okay. So the top financial tips to gain wealth in 2025. And this is why you want Craig, because without a really smart, honest person who is an advocate for you, and he takes care of it. What is that word again, where you have to take care of your it's like a legal term, Craig, with finances. What's that word again?
Power of attorney, be a POA,
It's
be a
there's
trustee,
but there's a word where you have to have, there's some financial
custodian.
it's something like that. It's where you are financially obligated to do what's best for
Oh,
us.
fiduciary. Be a
Fiduciary. Thank you.
fiduciary, yes.
Sorry, I didn't remember that. Fiduciary. Craig is a fiduciary. Some of these people out there are not. And so you have to be aware of this. Okay, number 2 on this of the top financial tips to gain wealth in 2025. Number 2, first one was invest in low-cost diversified index funds. If you think that's simple, go listen to the first segment, because it's not. Number 2, leverage tax-advantaged accounts. I wouldn't even know how to I wouldn't even know how to attempt this. So, Craig,
Well,
why would they take that number 2?
You did that when you started working. Leveraging tax advantaged accounts is a 401k, a 403b, 457. Any tax deferred vehicle that allows you to have money taken out of your paycheck before you see it, that you do not get taxed on. And then inside those accounts, you can manage them however you choose. So rollover IRAs, traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, tax sheltered annuities, a wide variety of products that can be utilized to grow tax deferred or tax free, like a Roth IRA. Are products or accounts that can be applied depending on what the client's needs are, right? So 90% of the time when I'm talking with a client, if they want to reduce their tax liability, the best way to do that is to defer as much as they can into their existing retirement plan. And I think this year, with catch-up provisions, you're looking at being able to defer north of $30,000 with any match. A person can defer north of $60,000. I think it's up to 66 to 70,000 possibly in 2025 that a person can defer. Now, do I know a lot of clients that actually have that ability to do that? A couple, but the most folks, that conversation becomes how much can you actually defer without disrupting your existing lifestyle, and how much of your lifestyle will we need to change so you can save enough so you can retire at the desired goal that you want to retire at. How much money you want to have in assets, what type of income you want to draw off, and then we make that decision as to where to place the investments and what strategy, and whether we hire an institutional manager, utilize an insurance product and or annuity. Yeah. So it's a wide variety of ways to address that particular question. But you've already been doing that as an example. A lot of folks who are already investing in their 401ks is doing exactly what you just.
And I'm glad I know that I did that, because
Yep.
it's like I didn't know it was. I knew how it works. I just didn't know that the term, and I'm sure many people don't, because I'm just like lots of other people out there.
Well, I mean, the big thing that threw you off, I imagine, was leverage. Leverage was basically take advantage of 401ks, retirement plans, of these tax advantaged accounts, because there, the more you can put into it, the more aggressive you can be inside those, because the advantage is the tax deferred growth and or tax free growth. So when I'm talking with clients, I typically want to be more aggressive in those accounts from an investment strategy standpoint and growth wise, because especially with the tax free, the advantage is the tax free growth. And if you're buying CDs in a Roth IRA, you're not utilizing the Roth IRA the way it could be, right?
While you're still working, because we're
While
in
you're
our
still working.
retirement zone. If you're in your primary career and you're doing your massive income gaining at this point in your life, so I see what Craig's saying. And the way they say on ChatGPT is how to implement this thing: max out your contributions, which is what Craig just said,
Mhm.
retirement accounts, e.g., 6,500 for IRA, 22,500 for a 401k in 2024, and considering using a Roth IRA if you're eligible, which allows tax-free withdrawals in retirement. That's exactly
Right.
what Craig was talking about. So I'm going to give you the next question. We won't finish this because we're going to come up on break here, but I'm going to prime you here, bro. Then we'll come right
Okay.
back to it. Number 3, everybody, we're top financial tips to gain wealth in 2025. Financial fitness with Craig Stiles, Ameriprise, our very, very good friend and our financial advisor. Number 3 is diversify with real estate investments. Now, I believe in this. It's good to believe in it, but I think it's a lot harder to implement this, because real estate investments can be kind of tricky unless you have somebody like you, right? If you're going to get into those, are they called REITs or something like that?
REITs, yep. Real estate investment trusts. Yep.
So so set that up. We got about a minute to go here. What do you think about diversifying with real estate investments, and as far as the portfolio goes? Does it depend?
A lot of it does. It depends on what the client's cash flow needs are. So typically real estate, depending on the real estate investments, if there's a farmer, they're typically majority of their investments are in real estate because they're using the real estate to generate income to have a lifestyle. If you are a real estate investor, sometimes you're going to buy a apartment, or you're going to buy homes, modify them, do it that way. Others, if you buy it through securities-based real estate investment trusts or REITs, then that's where an organization such as ours would provide you or offer you that opportunity. But there are pros and cons to each one of these decisions.
And we'll talk about those pros and cons when we come back. Thank you for setting that up, Craig. Perfect. Not that you haven't done radio a few times. The pros and cons of diversifying with real estate investments. We, on this radio program, we want to help you through our own examples, frankly, and our friends who we know and trust. We want you to have a great life. And so having financial freedom takes planning, takes teamwork, takes discipline, and takes effort. And the whole thing is really dependent on your choices. And this is when I'm coaching people or I'm training somebody at the gym. It all comes down to the same thing, everybody. Keep it simple, and make good choices. What I'm going to encourage you to do is call this number right now. Call 517-483-4893 and talk to my buddy. His name is Craig Stiles, and this is the Tom Mann Show. Hey, like that.
I like that very much.
That right out of my old,
You did it, yeah, right out of the old wheelhouse.
whatever, it's all fun and games. We're doing
Mhm.
good on time. Let's roll. I'm going to be efficient here. Here we go. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the Tom Matt Show. I'm your host, Tom Matt. Our guest today is my very, very good friend and financial advisor, Craig Stiles with Ameriprise Financial, financially fit in 2025. You know that Craig has 27 other episodes on our website, 27. This is his 28th visit to this radio program over many years now of
How many kids
sharing.
ago was that, Tom? I'm going to challenge you. How many kids
That
ago
was,
was that?
well, you just had to, well, let's see. I'd say probably 4 or 5. I would say it's probably 5 because you've been with us for about 6, 7 years now, and your
Yeah.
youngest is 3. You talked about Maggie. You talked about
Maggie's 13.
JoJo, and Maggie's got the soldering iron. Maggie's 13. You talked about JoJo, and you said JoJo was 3. So
JoJo's
I'll
3.
say 5 or 6 kids,
I'm
something like
guessing. I think it was even before the twins. So
you know.
we've been doing
So
this for 14 years. I think we've been doing this for almost 10 years now.
for a lot, yeah, for a long time, man. We started our mastermind groups, and we have our lunches, and
Yep.
we meet with students, and we help. It's just all over the place. And
Yep.
Craig has been a very good influence for some of the young people I've introduced him to because these people, these young people, these Gen Zers, they're already starting to debate. I know for a fact because I just talked to one who said, "Yep, when I start wanting to invest my money, we're talking a 24, 25-year-old
Mhm.
professional, just became a professional. Yep, I know who to get with. I'm getting with Craig Stiles." Now, when you get young people like that, because the Gen Zers really watch their money, they
Yep.
really, really do watch their money. That's really good to hear. So just introducing Craig, going to events with Craig, in introducing him to people at the university. We have so many friends that we've met together. It's awesome. All right. So the third question, today's topic, top 5 financial tips to gain wealth in 2025, thanks to Chat GPT. This is why you got to have a pro help you with this stuff. I mean, I'm so glad I do. This just clearly illustrates that it's very, very complicated. So we started the thread, diversify with real estate investments. And Craig, you said that we're going to come back and talk about pros and cons. And I'm dying to hear this one because it's like, well, yeah, I mean, real estate investments can be very tricky, but all investing can be tricky. And that's why we need Desideri and we need you and Ameriprise. Go ahead, please.
Well, there's a couple of factors when I sit there and think about all the questions that you're asking as it relates to ChatGPT and the specific question about 2025. ChatGPT is going to go out there and look at the markets and basically extract everything and put together what the consensus might be in regards to what to expect from 2025. So kind of tying all of that in together, one of the areas that you see opportunities are within the real estate investments in general. And there's several ways in which a person can invest in the real estate. One is through REITs that we talked about. Those are stuff that's kind of publicly traded. You can go ahead and buy and sell, provides a level of liquidity. You can buy them through private equity to where if you qualify, if you're what is considered a qualified investor, and sometimes that to be a qualified investor is a pretty high hurdle. A person makes a minimum of $250,000 a year. They may have to have a minimum net worth of like $5 million or so to be able to have access to some private equity investments. But then when you put a significant amount of money with these investment firms, you can get decent returns, but you may not have the liquidity, may not be able to touch the investments for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, depending on what it is. And then you get a huge payday a little bit later on. So there's a lot of pros and cons to these different types of products. I always tend to approach my financial recommendations based on the client's need for liquidity. Okay. So when a client is wanting to invest into an investment or like a rental property or something along those lines, I understand that they're investing into the rental property with the intent of increasing their monthly income. But that's going to take capital. how much capital, where they're going to get the loans, are they going to take it out of their investments, or they're going to take a couple $100,000 out of their investments, buy a rental property with the intent of getting a good amount of income. We evaluate what that income is going to be, net of taxes, net of expenses, net of upkeep, net of whatever it might be, because it may say I want to buy the property for 200,000, but I got to put another 50,000 into the property to get it livable, to change the carpet out, whatever it is. And so all of those conversations become a very important piece of that client's retirement goals. So are they planning on buying the property with the hopes of selling, getting income now, but selling the property for appreciation 5, 10, 15 years from now? And if they are, what is their expectation of that growth and value of that real estate property? Because you're not going to know what that value is until you're ready to sell it. The other being a cash flow issue is you take a couple $100,000 and you're doing it without mortgage. Now you have access or equity in that property. If you need access to that equity, the only way you're going to get it is by selling it, mortgaging it, or somewhere along those lines. And then we need to determine, if you do mortgage it, are we going to be able to get the cash flow, enough cash flow out of it to pay the mortgage as well as sustain your lifestyle? So all those variables come into play. And then it comes back as a diversifier for your portfolio, right? Is it a good diversifier? It's tough to say, especially if it's assets that are not daily liquid or daily valuable, like a REIT is. A REIT, you can go through and take a look what the valuations are, and REITs can be structured in a wide variety of ways. You can have REITs that invest only in warehouses, REITs that invest in apartment complexes, REITs that invest in corporate leases, right? Leasing properties. So there are a wide variety of products that generate different levels of income, and that income gets taxed at a different level as well. So a wide variety of ways can be used to diversify a client's portfolio. 2025, there are a lot of reports that are out there that saying real estate is a positive investment to be in. But how much of your portfolio do you want to have placed into that, and does it make sense?
Exactly.
And so again, from that standpoint, I always look at it from a cash flow perspective and what a client's needs are. Because if I take a chunk out of their portfolio, that's a chunk that we're not actively managing. So if a client needs additional cash flow that their liquid portfolio can't generate, we need to make sure that the non-liquid portions of the portfolio is generating enough income to offset the assets that we removed to meet it. So
the voice you're hearing is Craig Stiles. This is Financially Fit in 2025 Financial Fitness Tom Matt Show. And the key point, the key phrase that I wrote down for this third way of making income in 2025, according to ChatGPT, top 5 financial tips to gain wealth in 2025. Real estate. I tell you what, the question that the statement that you made, Craig, across the board for all of this, everybody, does it make sense? It's got to make sense. You got to, and again, back to my whole thing with the choices, everybody, make better choices. All right, I'm going to throw you number 4. We're not going to finish it because we're going to come up on break here in a couple of minutes, but I'm going to prime you with this one. Number 4 of our top 5, everybody, focus on building multiple streams of income. And I know this one well. And so I've been doing this one for a long time, and we can talk about this. We could do a whole show on this. Go ahead, Craig. Please explain why it works and possibly how it might implement. We'll come back and we'll finish that thread.
Well, there's even more of an entrepreneurial type mindset that you're addressing there. It's kind of interesting because there was a report that I just heard about, which I thought was rather fascinating, that 80% of immigrants that come to the United States, their objective and goal is to own their own business, right? And so I thought that was rather interesting because a majority of naturally born citizens, their primary goal is to buy and own a home and or own property or something like this, which isn't necessarily owning a business, but they'll have a source of income. They're working for a company and not have as strong of an entrepreneurial spirit as our country was founded on in many areas. So when I sit there and think of, again, how you phrase that question towards ChatGPT, how do you generate sources of income? multiple sources helps to diversify your income stream. So if you have one sector, or if you're in a retail business, what type of retail business are you going to get into? Do you want passive income, meaning if you're an investor into a car wash business, use that as an example. There are multiple places in which you can invest into a car wash business, which doesn't take a lot of effort, a lot of capital to initially get into it. But if you have multiple investors that are getting involved in it and then you hire employees, that becomes a passive cash flow or cash stream that comes in. Um, if you own I'm looking outside and I think of the True Value hardware store. If you're one who owns that, that is another form of income stream, or multiple businesses that cover different sectors of the market. Some income streams are good to be in, or some industries are good to be in when the markets are when the economy is not strong, and there's some industries to be in when the economy is strong. Having
We're
that
gonna finish
diversified
this.
income stream helps out in both situations.
We'll finish this thread when we come back,
Yep.
everybody. Craig Stiles is with us. Focus on building multiple streams of income. I want to talk about passive revenue when we come back with Craig. We got our last segment to do here. Again, financially fit in 2025. This is a financial fitness episode with Ameriprise superstar Craig Stiles. I am Tom Matt, and this is the Tom Matt Show. Boom.
Chakalaka.
Great answers. Okay, and the last one we can get and last one we've talked about all the time, but this one we'll go back. I'm going to go back to the passive for a second.
Okay.
But this is a plug spot, Craig. So get ready. Okay.
All right.
You know the drill.
I
Here we
do.
go. This is what's nice, everybody talking to the camera here. This is what's nice about having Craig and Brock and a bunch of our regulars. They got this drill. They know. It's like, okay, do I need to ask you what your phone number is? They know. Here we go. My life easier. Voila. Welcome back to the Tom Matt Show, everybody. I'm your host, Tom Matt. Our guest today is Craig Stiles, my brother from another mother, our financial advisor, manages all of our retirement zone savings. And I'm proud to say that he does. And he got us a 22.5% return last year. And that is a fact. So I don't know what to tell you, but I kind of like that. When he told me that number, I was a little happy. I'm real happy. I mean, it's like, because I just give it to Craig. So, Craig, if people want to get a hold of you and they want to try to just say, hey, I want to get what Tom's got, I want to get in Decedary. I want you to start helping me with some multiple streams of income, some real estate investments, some REITs, some, all of this in index funds. I need help with all these things there, Craig. How do I get a hold of you?
The easiest way is that you can just Google my name, Craig Stiles at Ameriprise, and then you'll come up to my website, and then from there you can actually click on the link and get access to our website, my phone number and contact information. My phone number though is 517-483-4893. Again, it's area code 517-483-4893. That's another way you can call, and if I'm not available, you can leave a message, and or you may more than likely my assistants, either Amy or Karen, will answer the phone, and you can just kind of schedule a time through them because they have access to my calendar over the next, usually we plan out like a week to 2 weeks, and we'll squeeze you in, so to speak, between my reviews that I do with clients on an annualized basis. And so from that perspective, make myself available whenever I can.
And if you want to hit me up, like I said earlier, send me a text. You got my phone number. I've had many people at the university, across the board, students I've introduced Craig to, comes to our meetings, comes to our mastermind meetings that we have all the time. And it's great because he just, he loves being around the young people and helping them have some thoughts on things. I mean, I had one of our student friends, Gabe, who came
Yeah.
to one of our meetings, one of our lunch meetings, and he was so over the moon with meeting Craig and meeting our professor friend, Albert Cohen. He
Mhm.
was so over the moon with all this. I just never knew. I just never knew. See, these young people, they're very, very smart in college, but
Yep.
they need exposure to people like a Craig and Albert Cohen and just people out there that want to help them,
Yep.
give them advice. I mean, they're all out there. And so he was over the moon with that meeting, Craig. So I appreciate that. Back to
Yep.
the fourth topic of today's um idea that we had for the radio program, our topic, top 5 financial tips to gain wealth in 2025, according to ChatGPT, which made it even more complicated, focusing on building multiple streams of income. I want to just throw in there real quick. We talked about this just for a second in the previous segment, Craig, but passive revenue. I
Yep.
was, I was, I learned this term from our accountant, Nikolai Luke, long time ago, because we're talking in the gym, of course, brainstorming at the gym. He said, you really want to get into passive revenue. For me, passive revenue was like books, writing books,
Yep.
doing the radio program, maybe having extra listeners come in and, click on the thing when we're sleeping, right? So
Yep.
talk about that for
I
a second,
mean,
Craig, and then we'll get
I
into
mean, like in that same note, right? That's I was going to use your business as an example for this next bit. Passive income, writing books, doing special events, right? You going out and getting paid to do special events, apparel, right? On your website, you could have the Tom Matt Show apparel, the Refinement Zone. You could come up with catchy phrases and put them on shirts and sell them. And that could depend on the quality of shirt that dictates how much prices you pay for them. And then all of those pieces become passive income that ties directly to your business to where support sponsorships for specific areas. What are other ways in which you can generate additional income that drives around the Tom Matt Show? What I was initially describing earlier on is a person basically diversifying their investments and running multiple businesses, say like underneath a holding company, right? You could have a holding company, but then that holding company owns the bits and pieces of a whole bunch of other sub businesses that those businesses span across different sectors of the market or economy. So this way, when economy's good, economy's bad, you're going to have different sources of income that will be able to increase and or decrease, yet keep the net amount coming into your home roughly the same. That's what we strive for within clients' portfolios, is having multiple investment strategies to try to smooth out the ride, if you will, as it relates to your overall portfolio. So, I mean, just to use an example, I mean, the performance that you have in your portfolio, a lot of people are like, wow, that sounds good, but what is their relative? Like, relative to what? You have like one of your strategies is up 32%. One strategy is down 16. The one that's down 16, or not down, it's up 16%, one up 32. But that one's generating more income than the one that's generating 32, right? So from that perspective, the aggregate is roughly 22 and a half. But each of those strategies we implemented for a specific reason, for a specific purpose, in specific accounts. And so generating levels of income, the amount of distribution that one would need helps to dictate what types of strategies get implemented, whether we invest in real estate, whether we invest in private equity, whether we invest in a very good institutional strategy of buying and selling stocks. That option or those options are available to most clients. So
you
that
guys.
is the
Well,
question that we address.
when you make money in your accounts, excuse me, Craig, but when you make money in your accounts, that's considered passive revenue. And all of the things Craig just explained all throughout this episode is why you want to have a pro helping you with your
Mhm.
financial fitness, because it does get complicated. The last one, and this leading into complicated,
Yep.
keep an eye on emerging technologies and markets. I mean, emergency, just for example, everybody, it's the very first time and I started using ChatGPT just to kind of mess around with it a little bit, and I just thought I'd try it today for this episode since I had Craig. I'm very happy with emerging technology. I mean, and it's been coming. It's going to continue to come. You want to leverage these things, but then you got to have people to help you balance these things out because it can become overwhelming. So,
Mhm.
Craig, emerging technologies. You've got all the fintech out there. You got all. I mean, we've had shows on We have several shows on financial fintech, as they call it.
Yep.
Go ahead,
Yep.
bro.
Well, just to use that in perspective, right? So it's not always easy for even a person in my position to keep on top of all the latest technology that's going to be out there. Obviously, the biggest thing is artificial intelligence, AI, ChatGPT. That AI has been around for a long time. ChatGPT is one of the first organizations that have been able to utilize and aggregate it, that puts it into a consumer type product that we can use, right? Not to digress, but this here used to be new technology too at one point, right? So we use it, but it's pretty commonplace. New technology, right? as it relates to all this. Things
So,
that
excuse me,
consumers,
Craig. Excuse me. But for our radio listeners out there, what Craig just
yeah,
did is hold up a coffee cup for Desideri, and
yep,
he hold it for the older technology, and then he held up his cell phone. There you go. Sorry for the gap there for my radio
right,
friends out there.
correct. Thank you for the, see, that's your person, that's your radio personality, understanding that you gotta, I like to work with visuals, right? So now buying into companies, and I like to use this other analogy a while back. Sometimes it's not always the new technology itself that you want to go out. It's kind of like searching for gold, right? People always want to buy into the AI. What's going to be the next best thing? I want to buy into Bitcoin because Bitcoin is that cryptocurrency. Well, cryptocurrency was kind of new. It still is very new, but now you have AI, which is another form of new technology, and how both of those are going to evolve and grow over time. We don't know what that is specifically going to mean for a wide variety of industries. Cryptocurrency is actually blockchain technology where you have artificial intelligence as a way of being able to gather and attract information and present it in a new way. Massive abilities of being able to calculate data and information in a very short period of time. That's what these technologies are designed to do to help accelerate decision making. Okay. How do we commoditize that? We don't know. And that's why you're seeing billions of dollars being invested. I like to use, there's this movie we watched a long time ago. I think it was, oh gosh, the Man from Snowy River. Okay. In the story, you have two twin brothers. One twin brother goes out because both of them fell in love with the same girl. And she says, I'm going to marry the one who gets wealthy first. So one guy said, "Hey, I'm going to go out. There's a gold rush going on in 1849. I'm going to go out to the mountains. I go out and do this." The other guy, he said, "You know what? I'm going to provide all the gold rush people with what they need." So he built the shovels. He provided them with meat. He did all this kind of stuff. That guy became wealthy while the other guy was searching for gold. How do you find and build grow your wealth over time? Sometimes it's not searching for the gold. It's finding out what a person needs in order to invest in that gold.
Give us your contact information one more time, Craig, and then we're going to wrap.
Office or my office number 517-483-4893. Again, 517-483-4893, or just search my name, Craig Stiles, at Ameriprise.
He is our financial fitness guru. He's one of the best men I've ever met in my life, and that is a fact. I mean, he created Desideri Analytics 20 years ago. This episode we call it Financially Fit in 2025. There are 27 other episodes you can listen to if you want to get to know Craig on different strategies, on different things that we do. Go listen to those episodes, and then please reach out to Craig. Call 1-800-528-1355 or 517-483-4893. And you can find his website on just click through at tommattshow.com and click right on through. If our show fits your business or group's mission, we want to be of service to you through our guests like Craig. Please let us know. That's why we do this. Sponsorships are available. If you want to sponsor a segment of the show, let me know. We'll make sure we get you. We got to vet you. You got to meet the qualifications, everybody. Always remember, before you can share love with others, you must love yourself first. Thanks again to my brother from another mother, Craig Stiles. Craig, thank you so much. Great to talk to you, man.
Likewise,
Sandy,
Tom.
Brock, we'll talk to everybody next weekend. Have a great week. Go out and ignite your life. Good day. Now, I want to say thank you again to our production staff, Mitch Anderson and Vanessa. The Tom Matt Show is a production of Boomers Rock Media. We want to bring your story to life. We are out. I love Craig Stiles. He is just the best guy ever. I can't say enough about him. And so, I mean, we're gonna set up some stuff. We're gonna try and bring you some more video presentation with him that is not radio specific but video specific. That's what we were just talking about. If you watch the video, you just heard it. To just try to help you stay financially fit in 2025, 2026, and in the future. Okay. So, with that being said, I'd like to say thank you so much to everyone who subscribes, listens, watches all of our good things. We appreciate you. I love you all so much. I'm Papa Tom. This has been the Tom Matt Show with Craig Stiles. Thank you so much again for what you do. And we are out. Peace out. Please support our sponsors. Thank you.